So you guys know the name Stephen A. Smith. He's ESPN's biggest star right now, in my opinion. I mean, Tony Kornheiser is amazingly charismatic, but Stephen A. Smith, he's the big name, he's a big gun over there. But Smith is not satisfied with being the sports major domo. He now wants to get into politics. Here he is on the Mars Show. Go.
Way on earth that you agree with everything. But you can run across people who are like-minded and they don't agree on everything, but they've tried to convince us, because of this two-party system we're dealing with, that you're either on the right or you're on the left. And you can't be independent.
So Smith, joining us now from New York City, has a political podcast, No Mercy Podcast. You talk sports too, but you talk to pinheads like me too about.
I wouldn't call it a political podcast. It's just that I'm not restricted to sports. I talk politics, I talk news, I talk pop culture and entertainment. I talk it all, and that's how I like it. And the fact that I don't have any limitations whatsoever, that's what appeals to me. And the way I look at it, I've been on with Bill O'Reilly on numerous occasions, Sean Hannity with numerous occasions, Mark Levin, numerous occasions. I've been on CNN, MSNBC. Hell, everybody calls me anyway, so I might as well have my own podcast to talk about these issues too.
But why do you want to do politics? I mean, why do you want to get into that world where you know you're going to be vilified? It's bad in sports, I know it is, but it's not nearly what it is in politics.
But number one, because I care. Number two, because I'm not scared. Number three, because as a black man, I think it's incredibly important that we bring some balance into the equation. Like, for example, I'm a registered independent, Bill. There are democratic policies I agree with. I'm a fiscal conservative, though. I don't like paying it. I don't like the high taxes in New York. I don't like the high taxes in California. But more importantly than anything else, it's just a pet peeve of mine. Certainly not trying to come across as a political aficionado, because I certainly don't know what you know, what your man Chris Cuomo, whose show you're going on tonight, knows. I'm not on that level. I'm not pretending to be. But I've got common sense, and I read, and I pay attention to some degree. One of the things that I don't like as an African American in this country is that we've got one side. We don't really have representation. And here's what I mean by that. We've got a Democratic Party, for example, although I agree with some of their policies because I'm a social liberal to some degree. I don't like the fact that your plan on convincing me to vote for you instead of Republicans is painting everybody as racist and demagoguing them. I don't like that. Tell me what your policies are. Let them tell me what their policies are, and let me make the choice as to which policies better suit me and better suit my community, as opposed to engaging in hate mongering and fear mongering and allowing that to manipulate how we vote as a community. I think on far too many occasions we're seeing that. And then all of a sudden, when folks get into office, we find out that we really don't have any representation because we didn't pay attention to how they were going to truly vote on the issues that are pertinent and relevant to our community. And that's
Pretty noble, and I like that answer. I think that's a well thought out answer. But it's very hard to be an independent in New York. I am. Like you, I'm a registered independent. Mm-hmm. But the Democrats have screwed the state up so badly, I can't possibly vote for any of them. And I did last time around. I voted for a couple of Democrats last time around. Mm-hmm. I can't now. That's how bad this state is.
Well, let me be very, very clear. I don't normally agree with Bill O'Reilly, as Bill O'Reilly knows, because you've known me for years now. But I agree with you on that. I wouldn't vote for Hochul. I'd be the first to tell you that. I'm not apologetic about that. And crime does matter. Now, I'm mindful and I pay attention to things from an historical perspective, at least to some degree. I remember back in the days when the Nixon administration used law and order to scare the living daylights out of folks in the curry boats. I've seen numerous people, numerous politicians do that throughout the years. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong in this situation if you point to that in New York City. I am born and raised. I was born in the Bronx, raised in Hollis, Queens, New York City. I have never seen it as bad as it is today. I'm mindful.
It's never bold, been as bad. And they don't fear the authorities.
They
criminal element.
And they shouldn't. You got people getting let out of jail
but
without even bail.
Here's the worst part about it. The worst part about it is, in the neighborhoods in which you grow up, and other neighborhoods today, the elderly, good people.
Yes.
I don't care what the color they are.
That's right. I got you.
They can't go to the grocery store. All right. And the little kids can't go to the park because
That's
there's
right.
drug addicts injecting themselves with narcotics right in front of them and their mom.
Well, let me say this to
That's
you.
a total
That's happened.
breakdown.
That's happened. But I can tell you, as a guy that grew up in Hollis, and the whole drug thing was very, very prevalent. Bill, as a community, we can work our way around that. What we can't work our way around is the violence. The fact that you're young, you're old, it doesn't matter who you are. Violence is just sifting through our community like a virus. It's nonstop. You got people being attacked in the subways. You got people being attacked at bus stops. You got people defending themselves in delis, but by felons, assaulting them and getting thrown in jail for 30 days
Right.
before a
It
push
is
was made
just
to get them out.
way out
That
of
can't
whack.
happen. It's out of control.
The most powerless people are getting hurt much
That is correct.
more than you and me because we can protect ourselves. We have resources. They do not. Now, I
Right.
sent you my book, Killing the Legends, The Lethal Danger of Celebrity, early because I wanted to get your take on Muhammad Ali, perhaps the most successful African American athlete in history. You can make an
Yes.
argument for that.
Yes, you
And
can.
what I lay out about Ali is that his life, even though he accomplished so much, was crushed because he was betrayed and he could not handle his celebrity. What say you?
Betrayed by whom?
The Nation of Islam, who took over his whole life, who took money from him at an astronomical degree and kept him fighting. When
Okay.
his own doctor said, no, the Nation of Islam, Herbert Mohammed, put him in the ring.
I am not familiar with that. What I am familiar with is how Don King robbed a few people. There's that.
Well, I don't talk about King now. So you didn't read the Ali part of the book. So I'll lay it out to you.
Okay.
You need to read it because if you're going to do a No Mercy podcast, this is No Mercy. So here you have an Olympic gold medal winner, comes back to the United States, proud, all of this. He signs up with the Nation of Islam. Who heads that now? Louis Farrakhan. So we know what that is. They take over his whole life. His whole life descends into chaos. I open with the Thriller in Manila, where Joe Frazier almost killed him.
Yes.
Almost killed Ali, and Ali almost blinded him.
And Ali almost killed him. Yeah.
Almost blinded him.
That's right.
Ferdy Pacheco says to Ali, you can't fight for a year after this beating because you're almost dead. 4 months later, Herbert Mohammed books him for another fight. And when I was writing this, I was so stunned that this could happen to a guy like Muhammad Ali. And it's important that people know what celebrity is.
I will tell you this. You can look at it that way, and I won't. Listen, here's what I would tell you. Let's take into account the times that we're living in, because we find ourselves as African Americans in this nation encountering such issues. It's the year 2022. Bill, with all the Black folks that you see on TV, the position that I'm in, doing First Take every morning on ESPN, having the #1 show for 11 years, you can relate to that with how long you were on top doing your show on Fox News for 2 decades, for crying out loud. When you have that voice and that quote unquote bully pulpit per se, people come to you for a lot of things that they want you to serve. And especially when you're Black, one of the things that I'm popularized, that I'm very popular for saying is, white folks go to work every day with a job to do. Black folks come with a responsibility, because we always feel like there's so few of us in these on these perches, in these ideal conditions, that people will come to you asking you to do things that ain't even relevant to you. They came to me asking me to speak about Trayvon Martin. They wanted me to speak about George Floyd and stuff like that. And I'm a sports analyst. This is what the expectation was. So now rewind the clock to the 70s, when Ali was at his height and he was doing all the things that he was doing. And the Nation of Islam, along with Black people universally across this country, were trying to elevate in American society. Civil rights had just been passed in 64. The Voting Rights Act passed in 65. But there was still mountains that you had to climb, which Malcolm X, before he was assassinated, articulated, which Dr. Martin Luther King articulated before he was assassinated. So that pressure that was brought to bear, it wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about, padding the wallets of people. People wanted to use whoever had a profound voice for a multitude of reasons to help uplift a community. At least that's what they were saying.
I don't
and so
buy
the
the
fact
noble.
that you're articulating that about Muhammad
All
Ali,
right,
I'm not surprised.
I hope you'll come back after you read Killing the Legends, because there was no nobility involved in that at all. It was a pure money play, just like Elvis Presley was sold out by his manager, Tom Parker. Ali was sold out by Herbert Muhammad. And there's no doubt about it. There was no higher calling here. Okay, tell me about No Mercy podcast. I like the name. So if I come on, you're not going to have any mercy on me? I'm older than you, Stephen. Come on.
Remember, it says KNOW, to No Mercy. It doesn't say No Mercy. Like, it says KNOW Mercy. Okay.
Oh,
so
No Mercy. So my producer has it wrong here. So it's KNOW.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm a little merciful, not too much, but a little
That's
bit.
right. Exactly. And so the point is really, obviously I'm willing to tackle any issues that are pertinent and relevant, but more importantly, I also want to touch on issues that are not only percolating, but direct people to folks that they should be listening to, the kind of intel that they can receive from listening to people who have substantive things to say. I interviewed Chris Cuomo already. I interviewed Sean Hannity already. Those are two people on the opposite ends of the spectrum. My whole point is listen to both sides. Take from it what you will. Ask the pertinent questions that people care about and then make them have their own judgment. Same thing with Bill O'Reilly. When I had Bill O'Reilly on, it's going to be along those lines. It's going to be about you. It's going to be about what you feel. It's going to be how you came to draw the conclusions that you've drawn on a multitude of issues that have affected and impacted your life, along with the inordinate amount of audience that you've had throughout the years. It's basically telling those stories and just not being limited. I'm very proud to be working for ESPN. I've been very blessed and fortunate to achieve what I have, but I've never wanted to be limited to just one genre.
All right, you can watch Stephen A's No Mercy with a K, 3 episodes a week. So you're the busiest guy around. You also got a book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, coming out in January. You can order that on Amazon, pre-order that. So you're a busy guy, you're a successful guy. I know you love your country because you couldn't have done it anywhere else on earth.
That's right.
And that's something we want to talk about on your podcast. And when you invite me on, Stephen, I'll take it easy on you. I'll carry you through it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That'd be so kind of you, Bill.
And we appreciate you coming on tonight. Stephen A. Smith,
take care of yourself.